What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
It's a very dense week of news this week.
Shut up, Brad.
The stories are plentiful, and they are impactful as well. So we have a lot to talk about. We're going to get right into it. Before you tell us about Bravely Default 2, I'm going to tell you about two hotly anticipated demos that I both played this week. And that was both games coming from Square, oddly enough, as well. And that would be Outriders and Project Triangle Strategy. Which do you want to hear about first?
Project Triangle Strategy, just because I'm scared to play it because I'm afraid that I'm really gonna like it.
This game is not for me. I got as far as, so like, you know, you get a little tutorial because the demo takes place like probably towards the end of the first act, if I'm guessing, as far as the story goes. And so like you get a little bit of a lead in, and then you see some stuff play out, and then they're like, you got to fight these guys on this bridge so that you and your party can escape. And I was like, all right, cool. And that bridge battle literally took me like 45 minutes. And I'm just like, oh, this is that kind of a game. It does some interesting things. So like before the battle starts, you have where you can take the main character and kind of free move him around the battlefield. So you can explore terrain, you can look for items and pick those up if you see them in the battlefield before the battle begins. And you want to make sure you spin your camera around because there are elements of the battlefield that aren't necessarily obvious just from the default camera view that it gives you. It's also a good time to kind of check out your party, see what different abilities they have. You have, like in this first battle that you did, you have no less than 8 characters, I think, or 9 characters that you control and move around on what's a very narrow space. Because again, you're fighting on a bridge. The grid that you're fighting on is about, I don't know, like, 12 or 13 spaces wide, which is not very big. And then the battle starts, and it's turn-based, obviously. It uses JRPG speed techniques. So, if you have faster speed, your guys might get to act quicker than, the enemy gets to. And before the enemy gets to, it's not like everyone takes a turn, and then everyone gets to go again. Like it's literally like a running, contiguous, all right, this guy's going to go, then this guy, then this guy, then this guy. So you can kind of plan around, which enemy is going to act first and concentrate your attacks on them. It's an interesting game. I don't think I have the mettle to sit down and play through these like epic, 45-minute to an hour to God only knows once you get later in the game length strategy battles. So again, if you like Fire Emblem or Disgaea or games of that sort, I would encourage you to at least check out the demo to see if this might be for you. The acting and the voice acting, I should say, and the graphics are on par with Octopath Traveler if you play that game, which is to say that, the VO is very good, but also kind of over the top, which is fine. Everyone's speaking with a British accent, of course, because, that's how those places have to be. So
yeah, that's something that we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's going on a lot in the game that you're playing right now.
Yeah.
Outriders got a lot of attention because it's kind of trying to cater to every looter shooter fan base that it possibly can, right? So it's like, it's got the inventory management of like a Destiny in some ways, along with like the superpowers. It plays like the Division because it's like a third person cover based shooter. It's got it's got some of the speed of Warframe, not quite the agility, but it's a little bit faster paced than most games in this genre for sure. So they're trying to cater to a little bit of everyone. The demo is fine. I haven't gotten to dig into it completely. I've only run through the first couple of missions, and I haven't been grinding for loot at all in the game. The gameplay is like it's good but not great. Like the gameplay is good. The world is good. The story is very science fiction tropey, where it's like, we ruined Earth, so everyone's on a colony ship, and we have to go find a new planet, and we land on this planet, but things aren't entirely what they seem, and things go crazy, and then like your character is part of the landing crew. Some shit happens. You get put into cryostasis for 30 years. When you come out, of course, everything's different, and you're kind of freaked out. And then you get these powers from the storm called the Anomaly, basically. And that's when you get to pick your class. And they have 4 different classes in the game. I picked I don't remember what it's called. I picked like the stealthy class that lets you, have a melee attack that swings out in a wide arc and kind of freezes and destroys enemies in front of you. And there, like, you can create like a stasis field where enemies that are trapped within it move super slowly while they're trapped inside. And eventually, like, you can blink through people and end up behind them and things of that nature. The story is very, if you play, so like it's made by People Can Fly. So like if you've played Bulletstorm, like it's not nearly as bro-y as Bulletstorm is, but it's kind of like that caliber of performance. If that makes sense, a very like B movie. So it's slightly charming so far. Every all the characters are mega stereotypes and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll probably play it a little bit more. This game comes out in April. The demo's set up in such a way that once you play through the prologue, you can actually start a new game and skip the prologue, so you can just jump right into when your class is created, and you can experiment with all the different classes.
Okay, that's okay. I downloaded this.
Okay.
And I started it. Mm-hmm. And it looked like it was the beginning of the actual game.
It is, and your progress can carry over as well.
And I said, I don't know if I want to keep playing this, because if it's a demo, like, give me a slice, right? Like, give me a slice of what I'm going to be doing later in the game. I don't want to necessarily invest however many hours it takes to get to the class portion. Right?
It only takes about half hour.
Okay. I will be 100% honest. I did not give this game a shot. Maybe I'll go back to it, but or go back to the demo. Mm-hmm. But this game's coming out in April.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna have time to invest in a looter shooter style game so close to when Mass Effect comes out.
I would agree, and this game plays similarly enough to Mass Effect in terms of like just the gameplay, like, because it's very much a cover driven shooter.
Yeah. I got as far this is how much I just did not give this game a shot. Mm-hmm. It took me forever to create a character, right?
Which
not
is
forever,
because they didn't have a lot of options to
get. Yeah, exactly. Not forever, but forever in terms of the minuscule character creator that they have. It took me way longer than it should have, right? Mm-hmm. And then I got to the part where you kind of test your guns, because that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how the game felt shooting. Mm-hmm. And it felt okay, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it felt serviceable. Then I watched a couple videos, and they were like, oh yeah, these are what you can expect from this game, and the different classes and stuff like that. And tremendous inventory management and crafting and this and that. I'm like, I don't know if I even want to waste my time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to the demo, but yeah, man, yeah, you gotta look. Just have black hair, or just everybody be bald, please, please.
This is one of those games that I almost want to take a wait and see approach on. Like, once I've done Mass Effect, I'll see if there is a community for it, and I'm sure by then it'll probably be discounted anyway.
Exactly.
$70 price tag. So, but it's fine. Like I said, I might tinker around with the demo because I'm not really playing anything else right now anyway. So check out maybe some of the other classes. The classes didn't look as exciting to me. Like they're not they're not tropey. Like, they're not super tropey. I mean, you would think they are based from an initial pass, but I don't know. Nothing was really like jumping off the page. It's like, wow, this is going to be cool. And of course, in the demo, you're not going to get access to any of the high level abilities and things of that nature. So
I mean, you say they're not tropey. There are 4 classes: a tank, a glass cannon, a healer, and a thief.
no, I guess
And
those
I'm
are
assuming,
trophy. So.
I mean, I'm assuming you picked the thief, right?
Of
The
course,
one that
yeah, yeah.
can like backstab and do all this like tricky stuff. But the tech person is, I mean, it's kind of a hybrid class, but it's your healer class. It's the one that heals. The one class where you just like your powers is like you just get like a bunch of damage reduction. Like, all right, I mean, it's and I don't necessarily mind the tropiness of it, but I don't know. They're just not as. I agree with you. They don't seem as interesting. Like they all look like they kind of play the same, but
Well,
I haven't played it.
all Destiny's fault. That Destiny ruined every other like class based shooter like that because the classes are so varied in
Yeah, man.
how they
Like,
play. So
like muscle memory feels a little different
yeah,
in playing those class in the Destiny classes. So, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll
but
see.
yeah. So
It
how's
doesn't.
Outriders?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a $70 game to me.
Well, I mean, all games are $70 games now, I guess so. Well, except for Bravely Default 2, which came at a smooth 60 bucks.
Yeah, $60. God, I can't believe I paid $60 for a game I played already. But I do enjoy Bravely Default. The the battle system. I love a turn-based strategy game. A turn-based RPG rather. And Bravely Default's gimmick
Mhm.
is that instead of going back and forth, you can skip your current turn and get 2 turns your next go around, or you can skip again and get 3 turns your next go around. And anyone on the battlefield can do this. Or you can bank you can bank your turns, or you can use your turns, but then you can use your turns, but then you won't be able to act in subsequent rounds.
Mhm.
So if you and I are going back and forth, I default, you can go again, and then I go 2 times that round instead of the 1 time, and vice versa. Um, and it makes for very, very interesting battles. Like Bravely Default has like systems on top of systems on top of systems, and they're all simple, but the way damage is scaled,
Mhm.
you can't just kind of you even one-off encounters are you have to pay attention to them. It's got a job system where you level up your character, and then you can level up your job independently, and then it's got a sub job where all of the abilities that you unlocked are used, but if your job is in the subclass category, it won't level. Only your primary job will level. um and boss fights are really, really difficult,
Mhm.
which is very, very fun. Like you get a really good sense of satisfaction when you defeat a boss, just because of how many enemies are on screen, the ludicrous amount of damage that a boss can do, and you have to the gamble that you can play. Like, am I going to use my black mage, who's my big damage dealer? Am I gonna go ahead and spend 4 turns on this one enemy in hopes that I can defeat that enemy, but risk not having my damage dealer be available to me for 3 more turns? Or do I play it safe and bank on my turns, and then whittle whittle the enemy down with my other characters,
Mhm.
while trying to keep certain characters alive, and try like it's a really fun system. I just wish it was in a better looking package. the the story is very like tropey, right? Like, I mean, it's the bog standard for role playing stories, right? What's the bog standard for role playing stories? A guy with amnesia turns out washes up ashore. Nobody, he has no past. A princess finds him and they have to get 4 crystals because MacGuffin, right? It's stupid, right?
I gotta say, at this point, if you're still using like the 4 crystals like trope, unless you're doing it ironically, like how is this still a thing?
So and what do those crystals represent, Brad? Well, they represent.
Well, I would guess that they would be earth, water, wind, and fire. Perhaps
there you go.
The elements of the land.
They're the elements. There you go. Because that's what this is. But you know,
if you throw in heart, then eventually at the end of the game you can summon Captain Planets.
So the story is what it is. I'm not expecting much from it, but the enjoyment I get from this game is the challenge of fighting and fighting boss battles, and getting new jobs and unlocking new jobs. Like my OCD is being triggered because I want to unlock every job for every person and every level of said job. Like it's I don't know, that's just a thing that I have. And but these, it's fully voice acted, and it does a pretty decent job. Everyone except for the main character has some sort of over there accent. Your one fella is Scottish, like ridiculously Scottish. And then a couple of the ladies are English, and then here's just I'm an American dude, right? But the problem comes from the fact that they're talking about like heavy shit, right? Like they're trying to make this as heavy and serious as possible. But I can't take it seriously when there are a bunch of Xbox Live avatars just walking around with their porcelain faces and their big soulless eyes talking about how my kingdom has been taken away from me and now I must get the crystals in order to save the kingdom, and this person has just died and we have to bury him. Meanwhile, these little chibi characters are walking around with their stupid looking faces. But if you've never played a Bravely Default game, like if you haven't played the first one or Bravely Second, and you like turn-based role-playing games, you will enjoy this. I think the battle system is enough to keep you hooked throughout the game. So, and we'll see, because look, the first Bravely Default had this thing where you had to do like a gauntlet of you had to do a boss rush, and then you had to immediately do it all over again or some nonsense. It was weird, man. And it really turned me off of the game. It was like, hey, you beat the game, but you didn't. So now you have to play the whole game over or some nonsense. I can't remember. I just remember being really pissed off. So I'm really hoping that this game does not do something like that. If it does, you will hear. If it does, and I get to that point before May, you will hear about it.
Well, we will see. So PlayStation Plus, right? PlayStation Plus, pretty good. We're mostly complimentary of PlayStation Plus, as we should be, because they generally put pretty good games out on it, and I think it's consistently better than games with gold. But I have to point out that they made a baffling decision this month. So let's go over the games that are free. It's another solid month because you have Maquette for PS5, a game that Steve in the group says he's very excited for. I've never heard of it personally, so I can't speak on that, but I'm sure I'll check it out because it's free. Remnant from the Ashes, a game that Jack has raved about, is available for free. A PS4 game. This is like kind of like Dark Souls with guns, basically. Farpoint, if you have PlayStation VR, you can get for free on PS4, science fiction shooter. And then a big surprise on its 1-year anniversary, Final Fantasy VII Remake is available for free for PS4. Now, this comes on the heels, and we'll talk about it later in the show, of Final Fantasy VII Remake for PS5 being announced. And, you know, during the announcement, they're like, you know, PS4 owners will get the upgrade for free. So, you know, if I'm taking a step back, I'm like, oh, cool, get this now and, you know, play it for free. And then I'll get, you know, a even better graphical version when it comes out to PS5. Au contraire, Micah, au contraire. So apparently, if you read the fine print, you should always read the fine print, kids. If you read the fine print, anyone who purchases Final Fantasy VII Remake through the PlayStation Plus free game promotion will not be eligible to get a PS5 upgrade when that releases this summer. My guess is that if you want the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which you need in order to play the new expansion that's coming out for it.
That's the thing, man.
You have to actually purchase a full copy of the game. I'm assuming on your PS5 when that becomes available.
So if I have this game for PS4 now,
you will get a free upgrade.
I will get a free upgrade.
Correct,
and I
will
be able
to. You paid money dollars for it.
And I will be able to play the annoying character expansion.
Yes.
Okay.
But
if I was a patient gamer, like
who was
you,
patient and didn't buy this for a year, and I was like, oh man, well, I've got no excuse to not check out Final Fantasy VII Remake now to get it for free. I will not be able to get the PS5 version. Now, that being said, PS4 version's no fucking slouch.
It's beautiful.
It's a gorgeous game. It's going to run even better on PS5. I have to imagine. You know what I mean? Like, I have to imagine that what's there is going to be even better. But I'm not going to get the pretty 4K 60 frames per second version of Final Fantasy VII Remake unless I want to pay $60 or $70, which I can assure you I do not. So I don't know. This just seems like a stupid thing to do. And the funny part is that there's going to be a ton of people who just see this is available for free and they're going to download it. And then the upgrade's going to come out and they'll be like, oh, cool, I can upgrade for free. And they're not going to be able to do it. And they're going to get pissed off. And that's going to like that is going to come home to roost in August or whenever, when the upgraded version is supposed to come out.
Yeah. It doesn't really make, I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. Like, It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense if you want people to, like, if you want to tease them to buying your game.
I just don't understand what the, like, do they really expect people to be like, oh my God, this game was so good and I want to play with Yuffie so badly that I'm going to pay full price for this game that I got for free? Like, is that something they think is going to happen?
That's what they think is going to happen. Because, and look, I like Final Fantasy VII not as much as everyone else, right? Everyone loves it. I like it a lot, but it's their fault, right? It's their fault for blowing smoke up the ass of Final Fantasy VII for literally decades. That I completely understand them having that mentality.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I to quote Jerry Seinfeld, I got to tell you, I don't see it happening.
You wait, Brad. Just you wait. You're gonna play this game, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, this is actually pretty fun." You're gonna enjoy the game.
Well, I have no doubt that that's true. Am I gonna enjoy it enough to warrant paying $60 for an expansion with that features a character that I don't particularly like?
You're gonna be like, wow, this game is so good. I can't wait to play this character that I hate and her two nobody friends.
The only way that you could get me to not want to buy an expansion more is if it like featured Vincent Valentine prominently and like made him into a bigger deal character than he actually is in the game. Now you roll out a Kate Sith expansion. Now we got things to talk about. Where's my Sid expansion? I need a cigarette smoking, crusty old man to check out.
Yeah, why couldn't we get a Sid expansion? Like, I get it.
Would have been way better than
You
Yuffie
know,
expansion. I can tell you that. So
Yuffie's cute and all, but like, nah, yo,
she was the
Yuffie's
worst
annoying.
character.
That's why she was
Yeah,
optional.
she was awful. You're right. She was optional. You didn't. Microsoft, I'm sure, is relieved that PlayStation is getting so much attention in this regard because their offerings this month on Games with Gold are par for the course. Warface Breakout is a spin-off game from the popular free-to-play FPS Warface, made by Crytek, which came out last year. That's free.
That sounds like a game sponsored by like a zit company or some shit like that. You know what I
like
mean?
Axe body spray.
Yeah, Warface Breakout.
There you go. The game that I'm sure everyone's going to be running towards for free. And again, I don't know a thing about this game. It could be amazing, but I doubt it. Vicious Attack Llama Apocalypse, which is a roguelite couch co-op top-down twin stick shooter, which came out a couple of years ago. So there's that. Metal Slug 3, which is probably the best game in reality on this list, is a 360 game that you can play for free. And then Port Royale 3 is a business simulation game about pirating, which came out many, many years ago as well. That's free as well.
Yeah, Brad, you get a whopping $64.96 in savings.
To be fair, Metal Slug was like $10, I think, when it came out, because it's a remake of an old game. So, as far as new games coming out, Harvest Moon One World came to Nintendo Switch today, as Carrie will be quick to remind you, that's not the real Harvest Moon anymore. Maquette, as we mentioned, is available on PlayStation and PC. Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 comes to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and Stadia. Yakuza Like a Dragon gets its PS5 upgrade this week. Sir Lovelot comes to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Gnosia comes to Switch. Kill It With Fire comes to PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition comes to next generation consoles. Ranch Simulator comes to PC. Anton Ball Deluxe comes to PC, and 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition comes to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. Micah is feverishly Googling Ranch Simulator, which I'd have to imagine is at least in the ballpark of Farming Simulator. Like, it's got to be somewhat close, right?
I would think so, but you don't know. It could be like, a ranch dipping sauce simulator. Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at the first 16-minute gameplay demo where you're going in. It looks like a bad Resident Evil game. Like, you're going into this old house, and I guess this is the you're on the ranch, and you gotta kind of fix this place up. I can't believe that this is 16 minutes. Look, I don't I just,
well, they want to know what you're getting. They want you to know what you're getting into.
I guess you bought just like a plot of land and like this old house, and you're just kind of putting it together. I will never understand
the simulator games.
Yeah, these type of simulator games. Like, I can understand like Flight Simulator, right? Because like being a pilot is inherently interesting, but like this guy's cutting grass. Like,
I'd actually like to hear more about your ranch dressing simulator. The way I picture that game happening is that you play as a native Californian and you try to find a way to eat ranch dressing as a condiment with literally every single food that you sample. Because Californians are gross. Kiara doesn't listen to this show, and she's not a native Californian, but I'm assuming because she now lives in California and has for a couple years, that she too is now gross when it comes to her condiment desires.
Oh, all right. I can't look at this.
When I worked at Papa John's, we used to have ranch. I think they still do. We had the ranch dipping sauce for pizza crust, because apparently people in California like
for pizza
crust and ranch. Yes, they dip everything in ranch dressing, Micah.
All right, this is just gross. And it's weird because California is like where all the food comes from,
right?
So it's like all your good food comes from California. Like, why are you poisoning it with ranch dipping sauce? Boy, nothing like baked dough and ranch sauce. Oh, God. I love California, but come on, man. Look, folks, you can go to densepixels.com/fans to get invited into our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. You can go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. I am wearing a basic black shirt, whereas Brad looks like he is Al Borland if he was a craft brewer. You can go to.
I don't know if I like that, but it is aptly on the nose, probably.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can subscribe to all of our podcasts. This one, low key, the best one. The Nerdpocalypse, low key, the first one. Black on Black Cinema, low key, the black one. Coming Distractions, low key, the one that we need to do more of. And the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast, low key, the smart one. And if that's not enough, you can go to densepixels.com/premium. For $5 a month, $50 a year, you get access to the premium slate of podcasts, including the Airing of Grievances, which we are going to record this Thursday. It's going to be the Caddy. No Time to Bleed.
The Caddy's a fucking fantastic episode of.
It is. Yes, it is. No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, Upstage Conversation, and the full 2-hour-ish episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast.
Like I said, I can't wait to listen to this episode of the Airing of Grievances coming up.
The Caddy, and I wanted, and the next one is the Seven. Which is another fun episode. We gotta. I'm gonna sit them down and we're gonna record. We're gonna record at least the Caddy, because the Caddy, I watched it last night, or a couple of days ago with my wife, and my wife likes Seinfeld, but she's not like into Seinfeld. She just likes funny stuff, right? And I'm watching it. She's like, "Turn that around," and she's just laughing her ass off. So and I'm like, of course, you need to watch all of these. So
it's very good. So PlayStation had a state of play last week, right? Typically, we would mention the state of play in like the big news of the week. This state of play did not warrant being mentioned in the big news of the week. It warrants being mentioned in the quick hit segment of the show, because we are going to blitz through these because there really wasn't much to see. They showed off PS5 enhancements for Crash Bandicoot 4. They showed actual gameplay of Returnal, which looks interesting. Like I said, it looks like if Housemarque made a roguelike game. That's basically what it is, essentially, at the end of the day. There's a Kung Fu game called Sifu that they showed a trailer for. They showed more from Knockout City, which we saw during the Nintendo Direct last week as well. They showed gameplay for game called Solar Ash, which is the next game that's coming from the folks that did Hyper Light Drifter, which again looks kind of interesting, kind of Mirror's Edgy in some ways. Some gameplay shown for the new Five Nights at Freddy's game. They showed another trailer for Oddworld Soulstorm, which is coming out in about a month. They have gameplay and story details for a game called Kana Bridge of Spirits. They showed more Deathloop. Like, all I've seen from that game is just fucking cut together gameplay trailers.
They gave it a James Bond theme,
which is cool. Like, I'm always down for that.
I want to like that game, but I don't know if I will.
Yeah, I understand. Like I said, it's already got a strike against it, because I really did not care for Dishonored. When I played that game as well. And then the last part of the presentation was dedicated to Final Fantasy VII Remake. So they talked about the PS5 version, which again is going to give you the ability to switch between 4K graphics and 60 FPS. How they aren't going to run both at the same time baffles me, but fine. They've improved all the lighting and textures. Like, they kind of showed a side by side of the same scene between both systems. I gotta say, the PS5 version, from what they were showing on the screen, it doesn't look markedly better, and I think that says more about how good the PS4 version looked than a knock on them not doing enough to upgrade the PS5 version.
It's the devil's in the details with this particular upgrade,
Right.
and I'm not it's all about like lighting and like minute textures, because the game already looks stellar, man. Like, so it's gonna be like you won't notice it unless someone is pointing it out to you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's how subtle the changes are. But it's a good reason to kind of jump back into that game again.
Well, and again, Mike, you get a new episode added to the game as well for free, that has Yuffie as the main protagonist.
Is it for free?
Yeah, it's part of this edition of the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything extra. So
I thought you had to buy it. Stupid Yuffie.
So here we go. So now I'm reading even more fine print, Mike. I'm reading even more fine print. You are correct. So you can upgrade to the PS5 version and carry your save data over. However, if you want to play the Yuffie stuff, you need to buy the Yuffie episode.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know. Yuffie's mad annoying, yo. But
she comes equipped with two charismatic-less friends.
Right, like right, to accentuate her being mad annoying. She comes with two straight men, two straight people, and I'm like, all right, not straight as in like, you know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. Look, it's a good reason to jump back in the game. The game is fun. Spoiler alert, Brad, like they change things in the story.
I know the full plot already.
Right. So that's what I'm interested in with this, but like the thing that I'm most interested in would come in a sequel. So
true. True. Yeah, why is Yuffie in Midgar? Who the fuck knows? Like I'm sure they'll have a reason to explain why she's there instead of hanging out in Pagoda Land. So
there's a bunch of like Final Fantasy stuff they're doing a photo mode too, which every game worth their salt has to have a photo mode.
I was about to say I've been meaning to upload my Ghost of Tsushima photos because I have a lot of those because that game was way too much fun to take photos in.
It's the most advanced photo mode it's the best photo mode I've seen in a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, photo mode you got photo mode and you got a woman with big boobs in it. So guess what you're gonna see all throughout June. Just a bunch of Tifa pics. There was like a bunch of other Final Fantasy stuff that was announced, like a Final Fantasy like what, I forget what the type of game that Fortnite is. Like what's the like genre?
Battle Royale?
Yeah, there's a Final Fantasy Battle Royale game coming out. There's the entire compendium of Final Fantasy games coming to mobile of all things. Like it's weird, man. It's weird. Like just make the sequel to this. Just make the sequel to this.
Or give us our Final Fantasy VI remake that we're never going to get. So
well, look, that's our golden sun, Brad.
It is our golden sun.
Except
chance of happening.
Right.
small though it may be. You're saying there's a chance. More PlayStation news. PlayStation has announced that as of August 31st, 2021, you will no longer be able to purchase and rent movies and TV shows through the PlayStation Store. This does not surprise me at all. There is way too much competition out there for these kind of services, many of them with apps on the PlayStation itself. Like there's literally no need for Sony to offer this service. And I'm assuming the fact that they're discontinuing it means that they don't see a need to offer it either in terms of how much they're actually moving. Have you ever rented a movie or bought a movie on your PlayStation?
No. Are you crazy? No. What's gonna happen to the poor unfortunate soul that did buy?
You will still be able to have access to those apparently.
And here's the thing, right? Like I'm I have a digital library, right?
Mhm.
And I usually get my stuff through Apple because I figure Apple ain't going nowhere, right? Um, but they also have like a thing called Movies Anywhere,
Mhm.
where it's a like a program that kind of compiles all of the things that you have purchased over different you know, avenues and just kind of puts them in one place for you.
Mhm.
Like I can look at my iTunes purchases through my Verizon box if I want to watch them like on television and not use like an Apple TV.
Mhm.
I wonder if this is a part of that, because if this is a part of it, then it's like, all right, well, for that poor unfortunate soul that bought movies through their PlayStation, then it's not that bad. But I don't
Well,
know.
it just kind of goes to show you that you should really be careful about where you're buying digital content. Make sure that you're, spending your money with someone who has the best chance of being around the long haul. And I guess it's weird, right? Because like I guess you want to kind of consolidate and focus on one service as much as possible, but then at the same time, that's also putting a lot of eggs in one basket. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I like I said, the future of licensing for digitally owned products, I don't think the story's been fully written on that yet. I think that as time goes along and as services shutter, you're going to see a lot more legislation around that, because I don't think people will stand for their shit just being ripped away from them.
Yeah, like, you're not buying a product, you're buying a license to use the product,
Right.
but you can't tell that to people. They're like, "No, I bought it." And they do have, I think they have a leg to stand on,
Mhm.
especially when, the digital merchandise costs the same as the physical media. So, you know, we'll see.
So some sad news. Japan Studio is the oldest lasting Sony first party studio that's existed. Some of the games that they're most known for, since dating back to 1993, they did the Ape Escape games, they did Patapon and Loco they did Knack, they've assisted on a lot of other titles, and they've also done the Astrobot games. Well, Sony, attributing to poor financial results, is winding down the studio and downsizing it. Anyone that they hang on to from the studio is going to be folded into Asobi Team, who is the makers of the Astrobot franchise of games. And then unfortunately, everyone else is going to probably be let go, just due again to poor results of games that have been coming out from that studio. Gravity Rush is a game that I can think of that did not do very well, that was coming from them, among others. So that's very sad. A lot of the studio heads have been leaving in the past couple of weeks. So, like I said, you never like to hear this, especially a studio that's been around with Sony as long as they have. It speaks well of the Astro franchise that they've been doing as well with their two games they put out with, but unfortunately, this is the way of the world if you put out games that aren't getting a lot of play. So
Yeah, I don't know what to say other than it sucks, and I hope those people who were let go land on their feet.
yeah. Electronic Arts has decided to delay the next Need for Speed game by a year, because they need Criterion to help support DICE on the development of Battlefield 6. According to a statement from EA, their chief studio officer, Laura Miele, she says Battlefield is shaping up great. The team has been working incredibly hard. They pushed hard last year, and yes, we have been working from home. It's hard to make games from home, and the DICE team is fatigued. So they want to make sure that the game is going to be developed as smoothly as possible. So Criterion has been tapped to work on Battlefield 6 right now. I don't think any of us are necessarily going to be crying in our cornflakes that we have to wait an extra year for a Need for Speed game.
Yeah, if they said that EA delays new Need for Speed to work on Need for Speed, then that would be great. But no, they're just delaying it for. And look, with crunch and all that going on, being more prevalent, and people knowing about it, and people not being 100% afraid to report it, uh, that's fine. If you gotta delay one game, because like that's just how business is.
Mhm.
Like, we're going to delay this game that people don't play a lot of in the grand scheme of things to work on a game that they do.
Yep.
I 100% get it, and see you next year. Need for Speed.
Much more on EA later in the show. Epic Games, not content with owning one of the most popular games in the world, wants to make sure that they own all of the most popular games in the world. They have bought Mediatonic, who's a video game developer. And you may say, Mediatonic, I've never heard of them. Oh, yes, you have. Mediatonic is the developer of the smash hit of last year, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Epic Games has snatched up Psyonix, who develops Rocket League, in the past couple of years as well. So again, Epic Games just wants all the companies, and that's cool for these guys. I mean, this is a super small studio. The game, like I said, Fall Guys is better and runs more stably than it has any right to, considering the size of the team and how big that game blew up and how much they had to pivot with supporting the servers of the game. I commend them for doing the job they did. I said it's one of the best stories of games last year. So this is a just reward for those guys that have been working hard for the last year or so on this game.
This is the dream, right?
Right.
To, you're working in your garage or whatever, making a game, and then, you strike gold and a big company buys you up. Is that the dream, or is Bungie the dream?
I mean, Bungie is probably the ultimate dream, but it took Bungie a long time to get there.
Right. And it took them being bought up by a giant conglomerate,
right,
to get their name out there, to, then finally be able to break out on their own. But look, I mean,
Bungie was owned by two of the largest companies in gaming.
Right.
for long periods of time. Like they got to nurture their craft under Microsoft, and then Activision probably had less to do with nurturing it, just more to do with being a bankroll. But they had to stick in that relationship for several years before they were finally able to strike it on their own. And now look at them. So I think that's the long-term goal of a lot of. I mean, I wouldn't even call it a goal. Like you said, it's the dream of a lot of small studios. But this is kind of the first step in being part of a bigger package to hone your craft.
Yeah,
in many ways. So we'll see what happens there.
Oh my gosh! Sorry, my son is having a meltdown. Apparently,
it's all too familiar. All too familiar. Finally, in the news this week, Hogwarts Legacy, the upcoming Harry Potter universe game. So I find it amusing that these game developers that have unfortunately been, caught in the crossfire of the fact that J.K. Rowling appears to be a shit person and a turf, as the kids say. They've been going out of their way to distance themselves from her. The latest, and this is good news as well, is that the game is going to have a trans-inclusive character creator, as well as feature a transgender character in the game as well. Their character designer will let you pick an unlinked body type and voice option. So if you have a male body type, you're not forced to have a male voice, things of that nature. Body types are also labeled as witch or wizard, and it'll determine which of the school's dorms that your character is placed in. Of course, J.K. Rowling very famously has been just, putting her whole ass out there and speaking out against trans folks, which is pretty fucked up. But the Hogwarts Legacy people are determined to make sure that this game does not go down with her shitty attitude and behavior.
Do you think, I don't know how far along this game is, but do you think this, this was the plan all along, to have a character creator that is flexible in this way? Or do you think it's something that they were like, you know what, we, like you said, we want to make sure that, that she don't speak for us. We're
in all honesty, I'm sure it was a reaction to
that's what I'm thinking, man.
I would bet almost any amount of money that this is not something that they had planned for originally. And,
that's what I'm thinking.
Not for any malicious reason, mind you.
Right. They just probably didn't even think about it.
Right. So again, like I said, it's always good to do the right thing, even if it's not necessarily for the right reasons. But as long as you get there, I think at the end of the day that I think that's a good thing.
I mean, you know, as long as you get there, then we'll worry about how you got there.
Right. And again, for them, I mean, just to be completely cynical about this entire situation, for them, this is offering a bridge for folks that in the wake of J.K. Rowling's comments want absolutely nothing more to do with the Harry Potter universe of products, essentially.
Right.
So they can say, oh, look, you know, it's we're not J.K. Rowling, like we're kind of doing our own thing over here. And people that want to play the Harry Potter Hogwarts game, that gives them something to kind of grab onto, to be like, well, look, like she's shit, but these guys are cool. And I like the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah, for all the people who have to do the mental gymnastics of liking something that a bigot creates, you know what I mean? Like I get it, right? I get it.
All been there, unfortunately.
Right. We all have to do our hoops and well, I can separate the art from the artist. Like, yeah, but there gets to a point where you can't, and then you got to make then you're that meme of that guy sweating, like, which button do I press? So this is cool for them, though. I'm glad, not cool for them, but I'm glad they're doing it. I would be even more glad if you were to go to densepixels.com/Amazon.
I was wondering how you're going to segue from this from that subject matter into an Amazon read.
Yeah.
Bezos' wares.
Inclusiveness is fine and all that, but you know, we're in America. Let's get down to brass tacks. Capitalism, baby. Go to densepixels.com/Amazon and help us with a finder's fee. When you go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases, you don't pay anything extra, but you do help out the show. I'm on densepixels.com/Amazon right now, and apparently my wife is planning on buying a fitted crib sheet, Black Boy Superhero 100% cotton crib sheets for boys, African-American baby mattress sheets for crib and toddler beds. That is the name of it. That sounds like something that was translated from Japanese. But yes, go to densepixels.com/Amazon.
I'll tell you what game that you should probably not buy from densepixels.com/Amazon. That is Anthem. They've been, BioWare's been pretty radio silent on what they've been doing with the game. We heard a couple weeks ago that EA was going to basically decide to shit or get off the pot at this point when it comes to the redevelopment of Anthem 2.0, and they have decided, sadly, to pull the plug. The Anthem reboot, Anthem Next, Anthem 2.0, whatever you want to call it, is dead and done for as of today. BioWare's Christian Daly, the executive producer on the game, said, in the spirit of transparency and closure, we wanted to share we've made the difficult decision to stop our development work on Anthem, aka Anthem Next. We will, however, continue to keep the Anthem live service running as it exists today. They noted that the COVID-19 situation and folks having to work from home definitely had an impact on productivity. And look, anyone that didn't see this coming, once, BioWare announced, like, hey, we're going to be ramping up into Dragon Age 4. Hey, we're making a brand new Mass Effect game. Hey, we got Mass Effect Legendary Edition coming out soon. You had to see this coming. Like, BioWare is a big studio, but your resources can only be stretched so many ways. As soon as the new Mass Effect was announced, like, in earnest, and they're like, oh, we've got concept art, we have plans, we have this. I'm like, all right, well, Anthem's fucking done it. And I get it. Like as much as I would have been curious to see what an Anthem 2.0 looked like, there does come a point where you're throwing good money after bad if you're EA. And I think that point for Anthem probably passed a year ago, if I'm being honest. So I'm not surprised at all that they decided to pull the plug on this game.
Yeah. You know, it is what it is. It was it was fun while it lasted. I'm not gonna be like Anthem sucked. Like, no, I had fun with Anthem. It just wasn't done. Like it was half baked. And I think if they made an earnest attempt, like it didn't even have to be like 100% finished or whatever, but if you made an earnest attempt, um, this could have been something. But you know, let's hope that Mass Effect 4 will be will have a couple of elements from Anthem, right? Like I like the flight, man.
Mhm.
The flight in Anthem was really good. It was really fun. Um Anthem just kind of Anthem just kind of fell to the victim of what a lot of looter shooters do, right? Like super spongy enemies, um crappy loot drops, and it didn't have a lot of as much as it tried to have like personality, it didn't have any soul to it,
Mhm.
right? Like there wasn't something that made it distinctly Anthem. You know what I mean? You can Borderlands is distinct. Destiny is distinct. But Anthem felt like it was designed by committee.
Mhm.
And
I mean, to some extent, it was like
right.
if you go back and read all the insider reporting that Jason Schreier did about the development of the game, like EA had a very heavy hand
Yeah.
in the design of that game, and forced them to switch gears a lot. Like I said, it definitely took BioWare from being the villain to being more of a sympathetic figure, or at least the grinders in BioWare, like their management probably didn't come off of that looking all that great either, from the way things were going. But that transitions nicely into the next story I want to talk about, and I'm super curious to hear your take on this. So I have to imagine, um, very much due to the Anthem situation, uh, and also because Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was tremendously successful, and that is a single player only game. EA is backing off of their studios a little bit, so apparently Dragon Age 4 was supposed to have a heavy multiplayer component in the game, which I have to imagine was mandated by EA. Forget the fact that the previous 3 games in the series didn't feature like super crazy multiplayer stuff. Like, didn't if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me. Inquisition had some multiplayer.
Inquisition did have multiplayer. It was garbage, and nobody remembers it.
Right. Like I said, and we've seen this in plenty of BioWare games going back. I mean, Mass Effect 3, as fun as the cooperative multiplayer was in that game,
Mhm.
felt like attack on mandated by EA, and probably would the main game itself would have been better served had it not been forced to exist, had you not had to devote resources to that.
Yeah.
But EA has decided now that they're going to remove the multiplayer components and let BioWare just make the fucking game that they want to make, which is what they should have been doing the whole fucking time.
Yeah. Normally when you hear something like this, the first inclination is like, oh, well, I wonder what it would have. No, I don't wonder at all. Get out of here. Um, I'm just like it, the powers that be, right? The non-creatives in business amaze me because it really is down to the bottom line. It really is down to what they think will make money. And the only way that they know is by looking at what other people do, which is why Anthem existed, right?
Right.
Like Dragon Age was an established franchise with a tremendous following. And it's like You ever watch those Screen Rant pitch meetings
Mhm.
where the guy where the guy is playing two characters, one is a writer and the other is the Hollywood exec, and then every once in a while the Hollywood exec will be like, yeah, we'll throw multiplayer in there. Well, but this is a yeah, but no, throw multiplayer in there. Well, why would we want to throw multiplayer in a Dragon Age? No, but put multiplayer in there and charge people boxes for it, and that's what it feels like, like this person knows, like these people know nothing about the creative process, but they know money, or they think they know money. I just This is wild, man.
I
And it
just
took it, it
sorry,
took
go
the
ahead.
success of a single player game, lo and behold,
Right.
to for them to realize, oh, hey, maybe people want single player games. Like, no shit, dude. Like, that's
Here's
what people have been crying for forever.
here's what I don't understand. So on two fronts. Look at PlayStation. Okay? All you have to do is look at PlayStation. The Last of Us series, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima, which added multiplayer later, but when the game released, like it was single player. And the multiplayer they added was very earnest and fun.
Right. You can't make money off of that multiplayer that they added for free.
Right. Like they're like, this is cool. Like, but after they developed their single player game and released it, right?
Right.
So PlayStation, just PlayStation has had all these hits. You can look at Ubisoft. Look at how amazing and high selling and tremendous the Assassin's Creed series is now. What's one of the things that went away from that game before it fucking exploded into the series that it is today?
Mm-hmm.
They took out multiplayer, which it
Mm-hmm.
used to have. The Witcher 3, one of the most successful RPGs of the last generation. Single player only game.
Right.
There is more evidence than you need. Here's the other thing that drives me up the fucking wall with EA. FIFA earns $1 billion every single year. Madden, I'm sure, is in the hundreds of millions of dollars every single year. Battlefield, I'm sure, makes in the hundreds of millions of dollars in microtransactions every single year. So my question to Electronic Arts is this: how much money do you need that every game has to have some kind of multiplayer in it? And again, if we just reverse it back to Titan, what could Titanfall have been if we didn't force multiplayer down people's throats?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like if you just build, focus on building a really good single player FPS. I don't know.
And like you said with Ghost of Tsushima, it's not even that it's multiplayer. It's the bullshit that comes with sustained multiplayer. Like, I
Yeah.
understand, people are gonna throw well, it costs money to keep the servers running, and we like, yeah, well, then don't do it. Then don't do it. Focus on making your triple A game,
Mhm.
and if it's good, the money's gonna flow in, man. It just is.
Well, and again, for BioWare's games specifically, like if you're not designing a game from the ground up to be a great game focused around multiplayer stuff, then like you mentioned earlier, that mode literally exists. Like Mass Effect, the mode in Mass Effect, fun as it was, literally existed to get you to buy supply boxes. That's the
Yep.
only reason that mode exists in the game. The fact that it was fun and could hold your attention for more than an hour is a bonus. That game, that, like I said, it was crafted for you to spend $3 to buy credits to buy those upgrade packs, so that you could get your single use powers that you could use in your missions.
Right.
That's why it
It's
existed.
it's
I'm sure whatever Dragon Age did was going to be filled with cosmetics and all sorts of things you could use to bling out your character, and it would be some kind of like cooperative survival mode or something along those lines, and this, that, or the other thing. And there would have been tons of stuff you could have thrown money at, and that's all it would have been good for.
yeah, that's it, man. Like, it just doesn't. So, bottom line, good. I'm glad that that common sense has prevailed. And
yeah, all it took was a game with the budget of hundreds of millions of dollars behind it to fail.
right, like with one of the more with one of the most with one of the all it took was a Star Wars game that you actually gave a damn about. So you have to, one, give a damn, and two, they had one of the best selling IPs in existence in their pocket.
And why was that Star Wars game allowed to exist, Micah? Because Respawn made a game that makes a shitload of money every fucking month. So Respawn's like, look, we more than funded the right to do whatever fucking game we want to here. So, because I mean, seriously, like if Apex Legends doesn't exist and isn't as successful as it is, do we get Jedi Fallen Order in the way that it is?
Probably not. Like they hired actors to be in that movie, right? That game. You know what I mean? Like,
I was saying, don't be giving it that much credit now. It's not that good. Come on. Speaking of throwing an assload of money at stuff for no actual tangible benefit, apparently Stadia's been a fucking shit show. Jason Schreier is back on his bullshit again, reporting for Bloomberg, talking about Google. So we missed the story. We talked about the fact that Stadia was closing their internal studios. We missed the story about how fucked up it is that they basically all the studios got an email from Phil Harrison literally the day before that announcement, giving them a big old attaboy and pat on the back, telling them how good a job they were doing, which is really fucked up. So yeah, Schreier basically talks about the lifespan of Stadia so far. Apparently Google overshot their projections on how many of these units would sell by the hundreds of thousands, which is why they were basically just giving them away for free at the end of last year. Google's services in the past that have been successful have typically started out very small and then grown into something very big. Like quite famously, Gmail was in beta for 5 years before it was released as a full product. They did the complete opposite here with Stadia. I mean, we remember that press conference. We covered it, after it happened, about what was going on. And the other best stuff is not only did they not have all of their features set in place when the service launched, because they were trying to run up and just get shit out there. Apparently, Google has spent tens of millions of dollars per game to get big third-party games ported onto the Stadia platform. And I'm talking about, like, they're paying Rockstar over $10 million to get Red Dead Redemption 2. They're paying Ubisoft over $10 million to get Assassin's Creed on the Stadia platform. And yeah, and like I said, they built these game studios. They brought in Jade Raymond, but they weren't willing to spend the same money on internal development as they were throwing at external folks to buy games that at that point were already 6 months old to a year old.
This is what we like to call the Micah way of doing business. Just don't know what you're doing. Here's some money. I want this. Put Destiny on my crap box, my stadium. Put Destiny on there. Well, I don't know if here's some money. Do it.
Not to because he's not a problematic person from anything that I've seen so far. How does Phil Harrison continue to gain prolific employment in the video game industry at this point? Like seriously, like dude's been front and center on some major fucking debacles over the years.
I mean,
like he was with Sony for the launch of the PlayStation 3. He was with Microsoft for the launch of the Xbox One. He then went to Atari, of all places, and then surfaced with Google.
I have no idea. Like I'm looking at his Wikipedia just to kind of see if I can piece something together. But he's got a lot. Well, yeah, and he was with Atari. Then he was dealing with Gaikai. Remember Gaikai?
Mm-hmm.
Then he joined Microsoft. Then he left Microsoft. Then he went to Google, and now I I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's like I said, he seems to always be front and center for the worst decisions. Not that I think that he has a ton of, you know, ton of sway over Google. I don't know. I didn't think Stadia was great out of the gate. I didn't think it would be this bad this quickly. Now here's the tough part though. I don't know how long this lasts because Google's quick on the trigger to blow stuff up. It would be pretty rough if they pulled the Stadium service down this fast because it's only been out in the wild for about a year and a half, give or take.
I don't see it making it through this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2022, new year, new me. Like, that's
I got to tell you, if you're Epic Games, man, you better swoop in and be the white knight for those people. I'm not kidding. Like you better come in and be like, yo, every game that you bought on Stadia, you got it in the Epic store. Come to our family. We're gonna give you a big old Epic Games hug. What do they have to lose? Seriously, like if you're someone who's invested a shitload of money into purchasing Stadia games, first of all, if you have, that was a bad move. But like if you're money that's actually dropped money, like, you know, actual money on Stadia games, like what would that be for Epic? It could be nothing. Because again, you're not even dealing in an actual in a tangible product. Like all you're doing is paying royalties at the end of the day.
And there's only like 5 of you, so like, you know, like you said, it wouldn't be that big of a deal for Epic. This is wild, man. Yeah, this is it. This is the last year for Stadia. I'd be surprised if it makes it through the year, but this is it for Stadia this year. Then
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that a company as big as Google could fail this poorly on this particular project.
I mean, it's just because they don't, you know, I can't imagine that people at Google, like, yeah, sure they play games, but like they're too busy spying on people, you know what I mean? No, I think it's just they don't have any executives that, you know, can kind of get it done. Like I've rewatched Iron Man 1 today, and the villain in Iron Man 1 is Jeff Bridges. And Jeff Bridges wants to build an Iron Man suit. And he has a whole team of people, right? Like he has a whole team of people to build this thing that one guy did. And he goes to one of the guys, is like, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a bunch of scraps. And it's just like, well, we're not Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Like this just isn't their thing. So it just seems wild, but yeah, this just isn't their thing.
Well, I'm glad I got a free Chromecast out of the deal. Like I said, I can't complain about that. Finally, Nintendo put out a Pokemon Direct, which was way better than the Nintendo Direct that they had put out the week prior. A lot of big news. The first one was the last thing they showed. It's a new game called Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's a brand new game. It's going to take place in the Sinnoh region. Apparently, it's a prequel for the Sinnoh region. And it is an open world Pokemon game, Micah. Pokemon of the wild, if you will. What people have been dreaming of for Pokemon for years. So everyone's pretty excited about this.
It's a good idea. You know, it's what they should have done instead of I figured something like this would come out instead of the AR Pokemon game. But you know, this is cool. Like you have to literally run around, and I mean, it's all been leading up to this, right? Like the regions or whatever are big enough, and I assume that this is just the same thing, just with no transitions,
Probably
like no loading screens. So It's the next step. Um, it's kind of cool. I'm happy for Pokemon fans. I think I'm Pokemoned out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like it's a very good RPG, but I just don't I just don't have it in me anymore. Like the monsters are like so, like when the monsters are literally just like a bunch of squares, and like how many iterations of a bird can you have? You know what I mean? Like I don't
Like I said,
I don't know.
I played 1.9 Pokemon games, and I feel like that was enough to experience what the franchise
You
has to offer.
you played every single Pokemon game then. You played every single Pokemon game. There's just more monsters, but the systems are pretty much the same. It's the rock, paper, scissors, system that's in all RPGs. It's just, if you're into dog fighting, then 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 that's when you play Pokemon.
More exciting news. Speaking of the Sinnoh region, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are coming to the Nintendo Switch in late 2021. These are being said as a faithful remake of Diamond and Pearl, which originally came out on the DS many, many years ago. No clue. I'm not sure if they're going with like the Let's Go format. I would imagine not. Otherwise, they would have had that in the title. So
Yeah.
I guess you're going to see whatever a switchified version of Diamond and Pearl looks like, essentially. So again, people are stoked. I know that a lot of folks like Platinum was their favorite one. Unfortunately, neither of these are Pokemon Platinum, so you're gonna have to buy both if you want to be able to get all the Pokemon. But yeah, I'm very good there. And then of course, Pokemon Snap is coming out on April 30th. They showed some of the gameplay in the game. They also mentioned a new MOBA that's coming called Pokemon Unite, and there's a new raid coming to Pokemon Sword and Shield where you can fight a Gigantamax Pikachu. So,
Pokemon Snap, the original photo mode in video games.
yes.
Um,
What if a video game was only photo mode? That's what Pokemon Snap is.
um, okay.
Like I said,
Um,
this is where we're really suffering not having Carrie on the show this week because she would care a lot more
yeah,
than you and I do
yeah,
about Pokemon. So
yeah. I'm happy you're happy. As Terrence would say, you like it, I love it.
we go now to the Dense Pixels post office as usual. If you are a member of our Discord, you can submit questions to us in there whenever you want, and then we'll answer them on the show. Jace wanted to make sure that we talked about the Outriders demo. Micah, I'm tasking you to at least get to the point of class selection and to make it to like the home base.
All right. Well,
Just so give some impressions.
I'm gonna have to make a new character because the character that I picked, there's generally not like a lot of choices for like black hair, right? Like this guy has they have cornrows that are not tight, right? As one of the options. That is just disgraceful. They have dreads that look like something out of a Tyler Perry movie, right? Like Tyler Perry is known for having just the worst wigs humanly possible in his movies, with him usually wearing one. Like everyone knows you're bald, dude. Like what is like no, dude, no. Like Shamar Moore had the worst cornrow wig I'd ever seen in my entire life. But the dread option is what's in this game. And then bald. So I usually just make a bald character. And I'm
That's how
tired of
we'll
making them.
know that there's more black people working in game development one day is when the black
Right.
face character options actually look like black people.
Yes, thank you. That's all. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. I'm just asking for some decent hair. Um, but I will go back and I will get to the point where I can actually pick a class. I'll probably pick the mage class because it seems the most interesting, right? Like the tank.
I've heard the pyromancer is the most fun of the ones on offer. So, or at least in
Yeah,
the demo.
because
Like I said, we don't get anything past our initial 3 powers. So
yeah,
you'll have to work on that.
yeah.
Mark asks, he has actually 2 questions. He says, what games are guaranteed to bring you to a happy place if you're going through a down mood period. Like, you know, winter blues, pandemic isolation, et cetera, et cetera.
I fire up one of the Spider-Man games. Just swinging is fun. Stopping random criminals is fun. Or I'll just zone out while playing a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll either throw in Tekken or Street Fighter and just kind of futz around and just kind of zone out.
Yeah, anything that I can not have to think real hard is usually good. So like if I put a Mario game up in there, Mario games are usually always fun to put a smile on my face. Diablo is definitely in that camp. I can see Hades is going to be a game that I return to often. That's like comfort food in a lot of ways. So yeah, stuff with an engaging but repetitive feedback loop is generally a good way to do that. And then he said, what games have the most frustrating rug yanks, as in the rug being yanked out from under you? You're building up progress, you're making the right choices, building up experience and stats, only to have a cutscene come in and go, nope, your guy's about to do some dumb shit now.
That Nolan North Prince of Persia game, if I'm understanding the question correctly. You get to the end of that game with the princess. The princess makes, spoiler alert, the princess makes the ultimate sacrifice in order to save her people and the world. And you, being a man, just like, but I didn't get a chance to hit that yet, or whatever his motivation was. So you undo the thing that she does, and when you bring her back to life, she's like, what did you do? Like, and he's just like, and it's you literally go through that entire game, and then the game makes you undo everything by hitting X a few times. It's such a letdown that just like, get out of here, man.
I can tell you from, so like the one of the ones that sticks out for me, and this was a game that I enjoyed thoroughly. Spoilers ahead for a 12-year-old game, but the original Infamous had a scene where you had to make like a Sophie's choice. Like the main villain of the game had, you know, they gave you the Batman Forever decision where it's like, hey, like your girlfriend is up here and she's gonna die, or there's these like teachers that are up here and they're gonna die and you can only save one of them, so make your choice and then figure it out. And so like obviously I was playing as good Cole, so I saved the teachers, letting my girlfriend fall to her death. And I was like, well, that stinks, but I made the noble choice. Come to find out that even if you make the other choice, like if you make the selfless decision, it turns out that it was not your girlfriend, but because like the woman has like a bagged head basically, but you actually saved just some rando stranger and your girlfriend dies anyway. And like I said, like Infamous is a game that really was one of the first games to focus heavy on like, oh, there's this morality system and it's going to change how the story unfolds. It really doesn't. Like it just changes the powers that you had access to in that game. And that's a great example of it, is that, like I said, no matter what choice you made, the end result was essentially the same. And the Infamous games were kind of that way. Good games, but little lean on the story. So
yeah.
Let's see. Rev asks, what do y'all feel is the best video game film movie of all time? Trick question. That is an oxymoron. greatest video game film movie. I don't know if we've answered this question on the show. I feel like we have. Look, my choice, so like greatest is relative to enjoyment, right? Like obviously, like I'd like to pick the movie that's the best like example, you know, coming from a great auteur. And
you know, the best example of actual filmmaking.
Yes, I'd like to pick that. None. I'd like to pick that, but I can't, because the answer is the Street Fighter movie.
Yes, it is. Like it is the answer. It is the answer. Like everything about that movie from the fact that it was supposed to be a G.I. Joe movie, from the fact that that Jean-Claude Van Damme is high off of his rocker in that
Yes.
movie,
Yes.
the fact that a literal thespian in Raul Julia was in that movie and made chicken salad out of chicken shit with
Yes.
that role. The fact
As
that
he was fucking dying. No,
right, right.
He was fucking dying. Like the dude had cancer while the movie was being filmed, and he just did it because he thought his kids would like it. And
Right.
he took a fucking shit role and made it amazing.
The ageless Ming Na Wen is in that movie. The fact that Ryu and Ken were a couple of con men. What? The fact that Balrog was a cameraman, Balrog, and they went to the WWE/F school of casting Pacific Islanders as Japanese people. The fact that Samoan sumo wrestler E Honda was a cameraman. Like everything about that movie is bad and good at the same. It's the perfect good bad movie, and I will not hear any. I won't hear anything of it.
Look,
I'm going to go and kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass
so
now,
hard. The next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it.
Come on, man. Come on. Get out.
There's so many great fucking lines in that movie. And they're all said by him. Him and Raul Julia are the only ones. Oh my god, how did they ever think they could get Jean-Claude Van Damme to be like an American colonel? We can all go home. So who wants to go home?
And who
wants to come with me?
Shut up, dude. Fucking the bad guys are watching the good guys infiltrate their base from closed circuit television, and Zangief, looking at the closed circuit television, says, "Quick, change the channel." Oh, come on, man.
And they all fucking did like the look back as well. Oh my lord. Go back and listen to the No Time to Bleed for Street Fighter. It was a damn good time. Many years old at this point, but good lord, was that
it is
that
really
it's
yeah, man. That's it. Not to be confused with that Legend of Chun-Li movie. That's not a good movie. That's a bad movie.
No. Yeah, like it's and I mean, for fuck's sake, like they literally called T-Hawk in the fucking movie. Like it wasn't that he wasn't like Tony Hawk. Like, no, he was T-Hawk. It's fucking it's great. It's great.
What's the issue? B-Rad? Yeah. That's your name.
It's so good. Oh my god. I'm just, like I said, I'm just living in fucking Street Fighter greatness now. I haven't watched the movie in a while. I need to go back and watch it.
I gotta go back and watch that movie, man. I gotta go back and watch that movie. It's really good, man.
It's so much fun. And again, Raul Julia has like a million amazing lines, and not only the stuff like not only the for me it was Tuesday, like that's the go-to, that goes that one. Like when he realizes that Sagat has been fucking fooled, and like he wasn't like privy to the plans. Like he literally fucking Bison turns around to the guy's like, "What's the matter, Sagat?" He's like, "Couldn't see the the treasure falling in front of you." I'm just like, god damn. That shit's fucking hilarious. Like Bison's like console as he's like setting off like sea mines against Baal's speedboat literally is a fucking Street Fighter like arcade cabinet control deck essentially. Like it's amazing.
I love that movie, man. I love it. Oh my god.
Yeah, a pox to anyone's house who talks down on the Street Fighter movie. And it was directed by the guy that wrote Die Hard. What's there not to like?
There you go. I mean, look, that's what I think of when I think of action movies: Die Hard and Street Fighter 1994.
And like I said, if there's anyone out there who does not like the Street Fighter movie, hopefully the last 7 minutes has convinced you that you are wrong. and you should go watch the movie again with the proper expectations set in your head. So that's it for the show. Thank you guys very much for the questions this week, as usual. Again, densepixels.com/fans is our short-lived Facebook fan group, but you can get to the Discord from there. So make sure you join up there as well. Whatever podcast app you use, subscribe to us. Make sure you check out all the other TNP Studio shows as well while you're there. If you go over to YouTube, youtube.com/densepixels, subscribe there as well. You want to see our smiling faces, you want to watch us in video format, you can, or the stealth move. If you can't like have your headphones in at work, but you can wear like a headset or something if you're taking calls, that kind of thing, is to have us on in the background on YouTube. And that way you can just hear us. Kind of like you listen to the audio version of the podcast, but no one's alive. There you go. But you gotta do it. And then make sure you follow us on Twitch as well. I'm DensPixels Brad, Terrence is Apparition410, Carrie is Suffix Carrie. That is it for us. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening. We will see you all in the next one. See you.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.